think we all were assuming the Niners had it made, and now it just got tricky. Unless, well, it kind of hinges on what happens tonight. Vish, explain it to him.
Yeah, it all hinges on what happens tonight. And to be honest with you, I was one of those people who was kind of 100% sure. Like I was like, oh, the Niners are going to make the playoffs. Like our discussion is more about how they do in the playoffs or whether they best utilize their assets this season. But the playoffs,
I was saying they should sit their starters week 18. I was already at that mode. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
They're going to be competitive, and then you realize, boom, with the way Philly's playing. Luckily, Minnesota lost to the Rams. As a Niners fan, you never want the Rams to win, except for yesterday. You want the Rams to win. And then it really all hinges, like you said, on tonight, because basically the Niners, even though they have a head-to-head victory versus Minnesota, and they have a head-to-head victory versus Philadelphia, their biggest issue is they have the worst record in the NFC versus NFC competition, as in compared to all those teams, Minnesota, New Orleans, and the Eagles. And because of that, if it lands in a two-way tie or a three-way tie, the Niners are the team that misses out because head-to-head gets thrown out of the window and you look at versus NFC record. So if New Orleans wins tonight, right, all these teams will be sitting at 8-7. Which will, and I mean, the Vikings will be 7-8. The Niners, Eagles, and Saints will be 8-7. And essentially, the Niners would have to win out. And even if they win out, that might not be enough because they would need to win out. Plus, the Eagles or Saints need to lose a game. And if they lose one, and the Eagles and Saints also lose one, and all these teams finish 9-8, the Eagles and Saints will get into the playoffs. So basically, they need to finish with a better record than one of those two teams.
Yes. And so what was interesting is essentially tell me if I'm wrong. If the Niners win the rest of their games, the Saints win the rest of their games, and the Eagles win the rest of their games, the Niners don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In fact, if the Vikings win all their games, if the Vikings win out and finish 9-8, the Eagles finish 9-8, the Niners finish 9-8, the Saints finish 9-8, the Niners will have the worst seed of those teams.
Oh, wow.
The Eagles and Vikings would be the two teams that get into the playoffs in that scenario.
So again, if the Saints lose tonight, it's looking like the Niners they wouldn't clinch it, but it would be, again, looking pretty good if they win out. But if the Niners go 1-1, things get really weird.
Yeah. So basically the Niners need the Saints to lose tonight, and then they have to win out. That's kind of the best case control your own destiny scenario. And I'm not sure the Saints are going to lose tonight. That's kind of where things get a little troubling.
Yeah, it's not like they're playing the Dolphins, who are equally mediocre. They're 7-7, right? As well?
Yeah, right? The Dolphins, right? They've picked it up. They've played really well the second half of the season. Tua's done some pretty nice things. He's shown that he's a mid-level quarterback. But the Dolphins also, I don't think, have played the best of competition during this time. And I think the Saints defense is going to really get after them.
Who is the Saints start? Who are the Saints starting at quarterback tonight?
I'll probably Taysom Hill.
Okay, it's not Ian Book, right?
Oh no, it is Ian Book. You're absolutely right. Because they got put on COVID. You're right. You're right. It's Ian Book.
Okay, well, look, all the Niners need is for Ian Book to lose. But if Ian Book wins, he was scrappy at Notre Dame. A lot of people liked him. He can run around.
They're not going to ask Ian Book to do anything, I think, because the Dolphins are going to zero blitz him to death. They're gonna try to win this game with their defense, and their defense is really, really good, which is why and I was really proud of this because. Not to go on a tangent, but you and I talked about the Saints, I think, a couple times in the offseason, both on this show and then my own show, Blake and Vish Sports. We haven't been streaming in a minute, but we will be back soon. Subscribe if you can. But we talked about the Saints, and I was saying, like, if you look at their defense and their overall personnel, I don't see why this team can't be a playoff team. And a lot of people had written them off with Breeze gone, and then Jameis was playing decent football. Like, he was playing, like, bottom tier starter level, and that was enough for them to get through because their defense was so good. The quarterback play has been the quarterback play has been really bad between Simeon, Taysom Hill, and I'm assuming Ian Book too, and it's kind of disappointing. But this Saints defense is serious. They rush the passer. They're fast. They got some good corners. They got good safeties. They're really good.
All right, let's take some questions and see how Niner fans feel after one loss and now they're 8-7 instead of 8-6. Eddie Marcos 916 says fire Kyle. No, but if they miss the playoffs, I'm not saying they should fire Kyle. I'm just looking forward to the comments that I'm going to get. I would trade him.
If they
haven't missed the playoffs yet.
If they miss the playoffs, I don't think his job is in any sort of jeopardy or anything. But I think the discourse surrounding him in the off season will totally change because I
Oh,
think that's when people will start getting on him saying if
yeah,
this year he doesn't produce with Trey Lance, and that would be that this year meaning 2022, then people will say then he should go.
I
Which
agree.
I still really like Kyle Shanahan, but I can understand why people would go towards that
But
direction.
yeah, you're right. The discourse will change. Ivan says, Ivan makes a generous donation. Thank you, Ivan. Sirs11 says, Saints and Eagles have 2 week games left. Bye bye playoffs. Thanks, Jimmy. Man, Niner fans are feeling a little upset this week. It's a
Yeah.
rough week. It's a rough week. I mean, everyone thought the Niners were going to win this game, right?
And
Pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
pretty much.
yeah, I still think the scheduling animal really
Yeah.
got them, but I think people are frustrated because they did not expect the Niners, Saints, and Eagles to be in the same conversation and vying for the same playoff spots at the beginning of 2021. I think that's the frustration.
Jason Howard asks an important question: does Jimmy G need to date adult actresses to perform in a high caliber? I don't know. That's a better question for Jimmy G. We'll have to
Hmm.
we'll have to ask. We'll have to get him on the record with that one. Mo Dollar says this team doesn't deserve to make the playoffs. That will only stroke their egos into believing they just got unlucky and they can run this back again. Ooh, that's a lot of truth to what Mo Dollars is saying. I
Yeah,
don't know if they don't deserve to make the playoffs, but the second sentence, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Mo. I feel you. I hope that doesn't. Vish has been very staunch in that that's not going to happen. That Revenge Tour 3.0 will not happen next year. I'm just a little bit more jaded than Vish, I think, and I'm with. Thank
yeah.
you, Mo.
To me, Revenge Tour 3.0 cannot happen. It shouldn't happen. I don't think Revenge Tour 1.0 should have ever happened in the first place, but here we are at Revenge Tour 2.0. So I don't think Revenge Tour 3.0 will happen.
Fingers crossed.